Welcome to The Dental Brief, the podcast that delivers actionable insights and expert strategies to help dental professionals like you grow, lead, and succeed. I'm your host, Patrick Shavasty, the president of Omni Premier Marketing. Every week at The Dental Brief, we bring you real conversations from expert speakers that offer expert advice and quick tips that make a real difference in practices nationwide. Whether you're a general dentist or run a multi-location practice, we've got you covered with content that's designed to help you attract more patients, to streamline your operations, reduce headaches in managing your practice, and increase your profitability. If you're ready to elevate your practice, be sure to subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and let's dive into today's episode of The Dental Brief. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Dental Brief. I'm so excited for today's guest, wonderful doctor who's here to share. I think this is his third time on the program. Dr. Martin Mendelson, welcome back.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me back.
Yep. I'm going to go by my memory a little bit. You're a practicing dentist. You went through some type of a medical type issue or health type issue that suddenly changed your career course. Tell us a little bit about that, when that was, and all the benefits that have come from that.
Sure. Yeah. So it was quite a number of years ago now. It was 2003. I was in practice for almost 10 years before I ended up having issues with my hand. Was actually out of work for 17 months trying to figure out what was next. And before there was Google or a smartphone, and ended up having positions in a large dental laboratory as the clinical liaison, then ran education across North America for Vita. And then I was with Spear Education for over 13 years, where I helped grow the faculty club and the study club organizations to what they are today. Along that journey is when I started finding coaching. One, executive coaching, team facilitation, emotional intelligence and happiness studies. And I talk about benefits. Without darkness, there can't be light. And so I took all those lemons and turned them into lemonade to help my colleagues get out of their own way with the thoughts that go on between their ears. So that's what I do.
Yeah. So you're helping tons of people and you're helping them help more people. It's fantastic.
Correct.
How that multiplies. Heck of a silver lining. Thanks for sharing that with us. I know we're going to talk about a few things today, but let's first, and maybe we'll only talk about it. You've got a new book. You can get it anywhere that books are sold. You can find it on martinmendelson.com. Tell us about the book. Let's first talk about who you wrote the book for.
I wrote the book for anybody that feels like they're struggling or wondering what's next or what's more. So this book isn't about dentistry, but dentists are human beings. And so it's about human beings. And so within the book is the framework of the word team, my framework, which stands for thoughts lead to emotions that create actions that manifest results. And so as the new evaluations are coming in, it's an easy to read book that's filled with exercises at the end of every chapter, full of really inspiring stories. Because although I talk about myself in the book, I talk about many more people, most of whom I know, that, for example, climbed Mount Everest with one functioning lung, or was a third runner-up on American Idol, or who was Fiyero in Wicked on Broadway. These are actual friends of mine that were able to get out of their own way through understanding their thoughts and live the life of their dreams.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me what inspired you to write the book. Obviously some inspirational stories in there that had to do something.
It did. Yeah. Like everything else in my life, it feels like it was a journey, not a destination. And what happened was when I was at Spear, particularly the last 5 years or so, and I started through the organization's generosity, being able to talk about this stuff, because there's so much science behind this, that people started coming up to me and saying, that was one of the best lectures I've ever heard. Or not only have you helped me think about leadership differently, you've helped me, as somebody said to me recently, you're helping me navigate through my daughter's stage 4 brain cancer diagnosis. And so I realized that there was something greater than myself and something greater than even the profession of dentistry. And then if I could start to look at everybody in our wonderful profession as people, that's when things really started to change and really started to pop. Because I had an epiphany that, yes, we're all unique individuals, but we're also all the same in the trials and tribulations that we go through.
Sure. Yep. Little spoiler here for some people. As you know, that I think I've seen stats, maybe you don't know this, I've seen stats that only 10% of books are read past the first chapter. Most books are not read more than a few pages. People
Yep.
get books with good intent. So let's talk about someone who you want to read the book and who really needs to read the book. If they only read one part of that book, if they only read one story, what would that be?
Oh, that's a good question. No one's asked me that one. If they only read one story, which one would that be? Wow, that's a really good question. I think it's actually Kimberly Locke's story. She's my friend who was third runner up on American Idol to Clay Aiken and Ruben Studdard. She had a passion of singing, and she also had a life path in front of her of going to law school. And she ended up auditioning for American Idol because it was something she had done her entire life. And she did it on a lark,
Hmm.
and it ended up leading her to some pretty magical places. And so it goes to the title of the whole book, I guess you could say. One move makes all the difference. And so she made that move. And here's the key: not being attached to the results. And I think so many of us get caught in attachment to result that when something doesn't happen immediately, we get frustrated and we give up versus persevering and keep going. So I think I love all the stories, but to answer your question, I think it's that one.
Yeah. So when you're working, let's just kind of shift gears a little bit. When you're working in practices and you're working with
Mm-hmm.
teams, what do you most like to share with them that inspired or was part of the book?
Yeah. So at the core of my work is a quote attributed to Dr. Viktor Frankl, who was a neurologist, a psychiatrist, and a Holocaust survivor. And he survived the horrors of Auschwitz for years, became an internationally known thought leader. And this quote's been attributed to him, which is as follows: between stimulus and response, there's a space. In this space lies our freedom to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. The light bulb goes on with teams when they really truly understand and embrace the idea that not only is everything that happens in life neutral, it's our thoughts to those scenarios that actually give it power through emotion or action. So when I work with teams, not only do we have some fun exercises and pretty groundbreaking discussions around those concepts, we actually create what's called an alliance, or what I've come to call a culture constitution, around what kind of place do we want to show up to every day? How are we going to show up when there are challenges? And how are we going to keep each other accountable? And this becomes a literal living document that's their words, their phrases that lives on the wall. And when someone's feeling squirrely, or they feel like their thoughts are running away, or they feel like somebody's doing something on purpose, they can put their hand up and engage the safe word that they pick, which is an indicator that they feel like the alliance is being violated. And it opens up the door to conversation. And in the behavioral sciences, it would be called psychological safety, the ability to feel safe to bring something up because we've set the groundwork that it's okay to bring something to people's attention at the appropriate time so that we can move forward as a team.
Right. If people aren't having tough conversations and debating tough scenarios, processes, and what have you, that means there's no trust. If you don't see debate, if you don't see dissent amongst your teams, there's times where you can say something that somebody blatantly knows that you're wrong about. And if they don't bring that up, you have a trust issue. And it makes it very hard for any team to move forward when they don't trust each other. The book that you mentioned with Viktor Frankl, I didn't know that he was a neurologist or a neuroscience. I knew that he was a psychiatrist. But what was the name of the book?
It's a Man's Search for Meaning.
Man's Search for Meaning.
Yep.
Game changer. It's probably the best business book in my mind ever written. Obviously, he doesn't talk about business in the book, but gosh, you want to talk about learning to put perspective on real world challenges. It's a quick read and it's amazing what he did to put that book out there. So I'm glad that you brought that up today. Before you go, the website's martinmendelson.com. Again, the book's anywhere that the books are being sold. And of course, you can find links on the website. Give you the last couple of minutes here as always. What else do you want our audience to know today?
I would like them to know that there is hope to the challenges that are in your life. And many times it is the way we are looking at things that is creating our own challenges. And so one of my favorite questions of all time when I'm coaching, or even when I'm thinking to myself, is how true is that? And so it's very easy because today, look, let's call it what it is. Today's society is very challenging for a multitude of reasons. So it is very easy to default toward our negative bias, which is a literal thing, and globalize feelings about people, types of people, certain people that are within certain roles within our profession as a group. It's
Sure.
very easy to do that. And so the question we need to ask ourselves is, how true is that? And how would that other person view what it is I'm thinking about them right now if we didn't have an opportunity to talk it out and talk it through?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Check out the website, folks. Get the book. It's going to be a great read. I have not read it. I'm looking forward to my copy. And I'm looking forward to having you back on the show. Dr. Mendelson, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Dental Brief. If you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a colleague who could benefit. We're here to help dental professionals like you stay ahead of the curve, one brief episode at a time. You can find more episodes and resources at thedentalbrief.com. You can also join the Growth Minded Dentist community on Facebook. Links are in the description. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and thanks for being part of the Dental Brief community.